This huge renewable energy farm is Germany's hope for a greener future. It's not being built in Germany, though, but in Namibia, one of Germany's former colonies. It's meant to produce green hydrogen, the fuel of the future to get away from fossil fuels. That's the promise. When he went to Namibia, Germany's economy and climate minister Robert Habeck stressed he wants a partnership between equals and avoid a green energy imperialism.
And it's a big chance for those countries.
This is crazy. This is becoming like a battery country for another country.
So how can rich countries like Germany import green hydrogen from countries in the global south without exploiting them? And why is green hydrogen also known as the champagne among energy sources? Before we get to that, let's cover the basics. Germany, the world's fourth largest economy, has plenty to decarbonize. Industries like steelmaking, heavy transport or chemicals can simply switch to electricity from renewable sources. That is where green hydrogen comes in. It's envisioned to eventually replace coal, oil and gas. So, green hydrogen is made by splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen. And for that procedure called electrolysis, you need water and electricity. And if that electricity actually comes from renewable sources, then you get a carbon-neutral fuel that industries can use much like they use fossil fuels. Currently, however, green hydrogen only makes up less than 1% of the world's hydrogen production. But that is set to change. The global race for this stuff is on. Germany, like other industrialized countries, is investing millions in huge green hydrogen projects, initiatives, research and partnerships, all with the goal of producing enough hydrogen, cleaning up industrial production processes, eventually reaching climate neutrality targets and stopping climate change. Sounds pretty good, right? But there is a catch, more than one of them, in fact.
We have to make a market. There isn't a market yet, and we all have an interest that we make that market quickly.
This is Dr. Jürgen Zattler. He's the Director General for International Development and Climate at Germany's Ministry for Development. When he says there isn't a market yet, he means green hydrogen right now is a lot more expensive than other fuels, which is why it is sometimes called the champagne of energy sources. Partly because of infrastructure, transit and safety issues, but mainly because massive amounts of renewable energy are needed to create it.
So we have to look at countries with good preconditions. And also we see that this new technology is in fact a great opportunity for many countries to diversify, to improve their economic development, also in the interest of the poor people.
Is it really a win-win? So, because it doesn't have enough wind and solar capacities, Germany wants to import hydrogen and its derivatives. In order to do so, it has set up energy partnerships with a lot of countries, many of them in the global south. In Namibia, a German company is planning this €10 billion energy project. Wind and solar farms will power the process of electrolysis. Water from the nearby ocean will be pumped in by a pipeline. The company promises that the local economy will benefit as well, with new jobs and access to energy and water. Minister Habeck stressed that Germany would only import energy that Namibia doesn't need for domestic consumption, and that the project above all has to serve the citizens of the African nation. But local authorities and researchers warn that solar panels and wind farms take up massive amounts of land, 1/5 of this national park. And they add, local communities were not properly consulted in the planning stage of the project. If that is how it starts, will they really benefit from it?
What we find at the moment is it could be a so-called race to the bottom.
Professor Franziska Müller's research team looks at the risks associated with Germany's energy partnerships in this fast-growing green hydrogen market.
Several African countries are competing against each other. Angola versus Namibia is a case to see which country could produce green hydrogen at the lowest costs. And this again could compromise labor standards. And I mean, we have seen these races to the bottom very often. We've seen that in food production, we've seen that in textile production. And now green hydrogen production could be another issue.
So, in order to be able to compete with fossil fuels, green hydrogen needs to become a lot cheaper. And that can only happen if it is produced on a mass scale, which means lots of solar panels, lots of wind farms over vast areas of land. Another country that has land to spare and a desire to be a leader in green hydrogen by 2030 is Chile. When German Chancellor Olaf Scholz visited the country, he reaffirmed that he wanted Germany and Chile to become hydrogen partners. Some warn that most of the benefits of the hydrogen production will be shipped to Europe, while the drawbacks will remain in Chile.
The objective of the green hydrogen strategy is to produce something like, I think in the most optimistic scenario, I think it's something like half of the electricity that the country will generate will go for producing hydrogen. I mean, this is crazy. This is becoming like a battery country for another country. And what we're going to tell people in Chile and elsewhere, oh yes, I'm really sorry that you're gonna have to drink water from trucks now because we really need to export this hydrogen. Like, I mean, this is unacceptable.
Land use, water use, disrupting the country's own energy transition path, the danger of energy enclaves that only serve the interests of the global north. Isn't that exactly the kind of green energy imperialism that Minister Habeck was warning of? Jürgen Zattler admits that keeping Minister Habeck's promise is easier said than done.
I mean, I don't want to say that there are no trade-offs, no problems. I think this would be stupid. But I think the partners I have been in touch with, they are aware of that problem, and they try to soften the trade-offs.
Germany's main players have indeed come up with a set of sustainability criteria. H2 Global, Germany's biggest funding mechanism, has committed to making sure that the communities where these mega projects are based actually benefit from them, that labor rights are upheld, that ecological concerns are taken into account, and that people don't get displaced. The German government insists that this emerging green hydrogen energy market will be more just than previous ones.
There are always risks and opportunities, and the risk should not really lead you to not to take the opportunity, but rather to minimize the risk and to help the countries.
So where does that leave us? The growing demand for green hydrogen certainly is a huge chance for countries with a large potential for renewable energies such as Chile or Namibia. If they were to become leading nations in the export of this fuel of the future, then the hope is everybody will benefit. And it seems like countries like Germany are pretty aware of the risks of perpetuating old exploitative patterns when it comes to this new emerging energy market. Will they stick to their own sustainability promises, even if time pressure is increasing on getting this transition underway? Will countries in the Global South have an equal say on the terms and conditions of this growing market? And who will end up actually benefiting from green hydrogen?